I get bored, and it's a good way to be bored with Jordan Travis stories. So I'm glad you led with Josh Farmer because that guy's really, and what I mean by that is just Jordan Travis is going to be good, period. He's got more weapons than he's ever had around him, and they're loaded, and he'll be awesome every time you let him play with the ones, every time. So it's cool, and I know fans need to know that, but I care more about the trenches all the time. And so Joshua Farmer having another great day. Of course, we've seen him in practice be great. I think he's on the cusp of having a great season as well. Mike Norvell singling him out and talk about him being dominant. That was my favorite note of the 10, and they were all good.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I was thinking, it's funny, I was thinking back as I was writing that about when Josh Farmer came in as an early enrollee 2 years ago, and he came in, and I remember Devontae Love-Taylor, who was a grad transfer offensive lineman, said that when they went out to practice, like one of the first days they were out there, Josh Farmer pointed to him as a high school senior that was enrolled early in college and basically said, like, I want you. Like, he wanted, Devontae Love-Taylor probably wouldn't have been one of the top five offensive linemen Florida State has today, but at the time, he was the most proven college lineman they had, and Josh Farmer, as a freshman, basically said, I want to take you on. And now you see him able to back up that confidence with his physical ability. I mean, he's put on 50 pounds since then, but he's extremely strong and physical. We've all seen it out there in practice. I mean, he snatches dudes and throws them around, and he's quick and he's athletic, and I mean, he's just a fun player to watch. So in a group that's probably going to be one of the strongest groups on that defensive line, the level he's playing at is really cool.
Was there anything that you heard the coaches say that surprised you? I know what you wrote. A lot of what we think about with that scrimmage and the write-ups of what the coaches had to say seem to reveal that, really good players made really good plays pretty consistently. But was there anything that stood out to you that you thought, either good or bad, that you thought was interesting and worth noting about spring up to this point and, of course, the scrimmage itself?
But there are probably a couple things. I mean, I thought one thing that was kind of neat was, and it's not a sexy position, but it obviously can be a very important position, is when John Papuchis was talking about the kickers. And he said your boy from FSU had
damn right
has some swagger about him. And, he basically just kind of talked about how, because I brought up the fact that, while Ryan Fitzgerald's been here and this is the same snapper and holder he's had, and a lot of kickers, man, like that's a big deal. It's an operation. It's not just lining up and kicking a field goal. There's more to it with the operation. And he said, man, Keltner's kind of like, man, just put the ball down and I'm going to go kick it. And watching him in spring, it's not like we've been blown away that he's clearly better or that he's beating out Ryan Fitzgerald. We don't know how that's going to play out. But I thought that was a pretty cool thing for him to say about a kicker, that he's got some swagger about him and, very low maintenance and just wants to go out there and kick. I was a little surprised that, Adam Fuller kind of came out and challenged the safeties the way he did. Not that it's surprising. I mean, I do think they need to play better. But he's not a guy that does a whole lot of that. This coaching staff's not a coaching staff that does a whole lot of that. So for him to do that, I'm sure certainly it was planned. They're trying to send a message to those safeties. And, so that was just something kind of catches your eye because they don't do that a whole lot.
I think the whole season really kind of depends on this defense becoming something of a strength and something that you can trust week to week, or at least against the better offenses. So I'm kind of glad to hear it. I know they have a lot of athletes back there. They have a lot of guys that I think could fill the role. And if they're really good up front, there's really no reason those kids won't be playing with high leverage situations, meaning third and long and opportunities for takeaways. It's kind of interesting, though, like you said, to hear him call it out specifically.
Yeah, and, I think that's a great point. If you think back to last year, I think they didn't have a whole lot of confidence that they were going to get pressure with the front four last year. Obviously Jared Verse had some great moments. Patrick Payton had some great moments, but they blitzed a lot as a defense because they knew they had to dial up some pressure. I think this year they think that front four is going to be able to put a lot of pressure on people. And so now it's not good enough to just be in position to not give up the big play. The one thing that defense did a great job of last year is they didn't give up a ton of big plays. They didn't have a lot of busted coverages. They didn't get beat over the top a lot. But I think Adam Fuller's, and I'm sure Patrick Surtain and Mike Norvell are expressing to these DBs, okay, this is a different year. it's not good enough to just be in position and make the tackle after the completion or try to break it up. You guys need to go make plays, and I think they've got the ability to do it. I think Shaheem Brown certainly is a guy that can make plays. Akeem Dent has probably dropped 10 interceptions in his college career. So it's time for those guys to make some plays, and it's those are game changing plays. I mean, it's one thing to make a stop on second down or third down. It's another thing to get the ball back, and that would be a big deal for this team.
Do you think we know Johnny Wilson is just going to work on one thing, which is he's just got to be better at in more consistent catching the standard ball. He makes dynamic catches all the time. He's a matchup problem. He's all these things. But if he just makes those catches, he'll be an elite player. Do you believe that the other guy that will emerge as somebody you can count on is going to be Poitier?
I don't know that I'm buying that he's going to be like the number 2 receiver on this team.
Yeah, me neither.
He's had a good spring, and he's a nice weapon. He had a bunch of important catches last year, but I think he's still going to be that kind of in that 4th receiver kind of range. But we'll have to see who emerges. I mean, Vandrevius Jacobs has been outstanding all spring. He may end up being the number 2 guy. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable to think that could happen, or at least maybe the 3rd guy. Winston Wright's now available, and then you have some other guys as well. So I think we'll see Darian Williamson and some of the other guys they have there, but I think he's going to be a solid member of that rotation. I don't know that I would say he's going to be your number 2 receiver.